love podcasts that just start in media res.
I see what you. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Just
I
get the ball rolling.
get it. No, I get the natural intro, make everybody feel like they're talking, and
Right.
then it's like, and so we all forget we have
always get
microphones
swept
in our
up into that.
hands.
I never forget microphones.
In your hand?
Nope.
You're always aware of it at all times?
I'm always aware of a microphone, unlike Chevy Chase is aware of the audience reactions.
Feels wrong when he doesn't have a microphone in his hands.
Welcome to Bottle Episode.
Welcome to Bottle Episode.
Welcome.
It's the Chevy Chase Show. Tonight, not one, but two Academy Award-winning actresses. Tom Scott and the NBC Orchestra. And now, he's still not ready for prime time, Chevy Chase.
I'm David Piccolomini, and we're here this week with a special guest.
Dane Rothenberg. Hi. Hello, boys. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
And this
Almost
week,
said welcome.
welcome.
Welcome to your own podcast, boys.
You're allowed to welcome the listeners in.
Welcome, listeners.
That's what a good host does. You know what a bad host does?
Be Chevy Chase.
Immediately misses
Oh
two
my
basketball
God.
shots as their first act
Oh
on their brand new
my
talk show that they were paid millions of dollars to do. He shows up, takes two shots, misses both, and they edit in a close-up of a basketball going in a hoop that was clearly not done by him.
You want to know what they say? God works in mysterious ways, but I would say that's a pretty apt visual metaphor
Yeah.
for the entirety of that.
So
You could
God was
run.
working exactly as intended for
God was
that
working
one.
in a very straightforward way that day.
You couldn't write that,
No.
good of a metaphor for the intro, and I know you couldn't write that because I saw what they did write for the show.
Oh my
It's
fucking God.
it's
Oh
all
my
so
fucking God.
so Chevy Chase, if you don't know, very famous comedian.
Town in Maryland.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase
Is
is a
it
town in
it's
Maryland?
named after
Yeah.
him?
Ugh.
No, I
Oh.
think it's a stage name. He's named after that
He named himself after the town?
or something. Who cares?
Is
Yeah,
a town called
that's-
Chevy Chase or
We're
Chevy
doing the Chevy
Maryland?
Chase show.
Chevy Chase.
We're not doing the history of Chevy Chase. I just want to do a brief. Was on the first season of SNL, launched from that, got too popular, immediately left SNL, was doing a bunch of movies, National Lampoon Vacation movies, all those.
Fletch.
But also known for being a real egregious asshole, is kind of trying to stage a comeback in the 90s. And comes out with the Chevy Chase Show, which is a talk show starring Chevy Chase. That's all the thought they put into it. There'll be it also, though, it might be that thing of he's like, and it'll be great. There's going to be music and sketches and all this stuff, and then it's like, well, how do we do any of that? And he's like, I thought you guys handle.
I know you guys are probably tired of hearing my take on Chevy Chase, but just it can't be said enough that his whole appeal is he's the clumsiest man. He has somehow made it all his years, and he doesn't know how to put mustard on a hot dog. Oh, what? He tore apart the entire thing trying to put together one hot dog. What a crazy guy! But that's it. That's his whole thing. That's
befuddlement.
the end of yes.
He's befuddled constantly, and here's the thing. Chevy's an incredible pratfaller.
Sure.
Very
That's
funny. It's funny to see like that be the evolution, like where Chevy's close enough to Buster Keaton that you could still have an old school pratfaller guy in the 70s. Not close, but it's like still like it's like a throwback thing.
God, I wish Buster Keaton was hosting this show.
Way better.
Even he's probably dead
Is he
by
talking?
this point. But even if it was just a corpse in a chair, it would have been a better interviewer than Chevy Chase.
There was a high-pitched whine in the background of every single...
Well, that's because we were watching old VHS recordings.
That still wasn't the most grating part about this.
Yeah. No, like I said it while we were watching it. I've never felt like I was watching a show that was full of talking, but also just dead air.
I couldn't latch on. Like, my brain kept, like... I kept, like... going away to other places in my mind, like daydreaming, and it's like, no, I'm literally not able to take in this information. It's too vapid. It's too vacuous. There's just nothing.
It's also
There's nothing there.
It's the thing. It's Fox in its infancy, which is such a like bad. It's very much they're trying to come out as like leather jacket vibes is the best way I can put it. Like, but it's that like kind of gross. It's Married with Children is like the popular show. So they're like, oh, Chevy is coming back. It's kind of like when they tried to bring back Andrew Dice Clay.
Ugh.
And they're like, watch out, the Dice Man's back. And now, I mean, he can do comedy clubs, but he's not like on TV. His TV show did not go well.
The whole point of like a character like that on this late night talk show thing, it's like they got to be like the pilot of like what that metaphor about stand up. They got to be the pilot of the aircraft. You got to kind of trust in them, but also it's not just a boring aircraft. That's boring. No, take me on a fucking roller coaster, dude. You know what I mean? But make it safe, but make it fun and exciting. He is so not that guy. He's sorry.
No, I'm not going to make the obvious if Chevy was a pilot joke here. I'll leave that up to the listener's imagination.
Because he not only takes the safe bet at every choice, he does it in a way that he thinks the audience is stupid.
Well, he thinks the audience is stupid because he is stupid.
That is a fair point. That is a great point.
Because, like, okay, we should probably, because this is what dominates my memory of the first episode, so I want to bring it up. Goldie Hawn is a guest.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Goldie Hawn's son is in the audience, and it's her birthday. It's his birthday.
You can't stop thinking about
No,
this.
because it's mind-boggling.
We're 7 minutes in.
So Chevy brings out a cake for his birthday, and then he drops the cake. And
Hilarious.
Just kidding. I brought you another cake, and he gives this guy a giant cake.
Can I
And he sets it on he sets it on the guy's lap, and then he tells the whole audience, "Hey, everybody, stand up." And then that guy can't stand up because he has the giant cake, and they don't do anything interesting because that's like so funny, but not on purpose. But they never do anything like as a joke around that. Like you suggested, David, while watching it, they should have been like, "Hey, if you're not racist, stand up."
Yeah,
that's like an actual joke.
joke.
Like they accidentally set up one of the funniest things I've ever seen and didn't realize it.
They did not realize it.
Just because they bring out a fake cake. Why does he tell him to stand up? Everybody to stand up?
Because Chevy's like singing
birthday.
a song.
Just applaud for the birthday.
He's singing a song or something, and then he kisses Goldie Hawn. He kisses this guy's mom.
Traps the kid, then kisses his mom.
Kisses his mom.
And another thing,
That's the Chevy plan.
Yeah.
the first cake they brought out, I could tell he was going to drop it because that cake looked shitty. It looked like a very boring, nothing cake. That like, okay, they got a cheap cake because he's got a bread to break it. Okay, but then the second cake they brought out was identical.
Yeah.
They didn't give a fuck about this kid's birthday.
Well, because they had some rehearsal cakes set by.
Of course, yeah, no.
Chevy worked all day making sure you knew how to drop a cake.
I love the idea that Chevy Chase thought he was just going to drop a cake and have that be the bit. And they were like, no, we have a backup cake in case you drop one.
And then they brought the backup cake out. He's like, am I supposed to give the kid the cake?
Yeah.
What do I get out of this? Could I like mac on Goldie?
Yeah. So
Now that you're trapped, I get your mom.
Dude, Goldie Hawn was coked up this episode.
She was so on cocaine the
Oh
entire.
my God.
I mean, I guess that's what you do.
That's what you do when you're
I
Goldie.
wonder how many like old interviews though we would watch and be like, oh, that's cocaine, because they just thought they were being bubbly.
Old interviews? Dude,
Yeah.
Any interview with Eric Andre, any interview there, I can tell when he's on coke.
Okay.
I was
Tell
saying
him.
on his show.
Yes, not only that, but yeah, oh yeah. Dude, he has an interview with Nardwuar. Dude is fucking zooted.
Nice.
Fun. It's fun.
Okay,
It's
no.
It's fun to be able to identify.
It's interesting that you bring up both Eric Andre and Nardwuar because they are better interviewers than Chevy Chase.
100%. Oh, it was a wonderful interview.
Yeah.
It's wondrous.
Apparently, the whole thing with the Chevy Chase, he wanted, according to him, he wanted to do a cool thing that was like a variety act, but like with kind of his like patented meanness.
Finally.
Like only the occasional guest. Like the first episode was supposed to have the host get bitten by a rattlesnake and nearly die in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Instead, it starts out way better. The first thing we see is Chevy
Oh, with the hand.
having a conversation with.
Oh my God.
His hand has a face drawn on it, and he's like,
Not
hey.
even a good face. It's
No.
not even like a. They've done great hand art before.
Took them 2
Yeah.
seconds to do this one.
And he's like, "Hey, hand, you excited for the show?" And the hand's like, "I'm nervous." And he's like, "Me too." And then the hand pukes for about 30 seconds,
You know what? I just
and then
realized?
we go to the opening
Also,
credits.
also the hand is vaguely Latin coded woman, which I guess is that just the like.
That's just his woman voice.
Yeah.
It goes high pitched voice for a woman.
Oh, it goes high pitched voice for the woman.
Yeah.
No, because we saw him do a woman voice in the second episode we watched. It didn't have the Latin accent.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that is
saying it's a weird
true.
thing of like people make their hands Latin women.
At least Chevy does.
It's
So
the
does
J-Lo,
South Park.
Cartman J-Lo.
Yeah.
I think it's like a weird tradition. I don't know why. It might just be those two, but that's weird that it's happened
God.
twice. Even
Maybe
That
they
is
were
funny.
parodying Chevy Chase.
I think it's from. I think they're both parodying something else.
'Cause I feel like
Okay.
those guys are niche enough to make that parody that like 4 people out there will get.
Yeah. I mean,
Us and another.
But here's the thing about the opening credits, though, right after that great puking hand sketch.
Yeah.
Cool opening credits.
Oh yeah, they put effort in that.
Like stop motion animation or claymation or something.
Something like that.
They look nice. And I'm like, okay. Maybe this is not as bad as its reputation says, because this show ended up canceled after, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
After they paid Chevy Chase millions of dollars and built a theater and named it the Chevy Chase Theater.
Let's be real. Chevy Pace.
Crazy.
Chevy Pace.
Yeah.
Chevy paid for this.
You're saying like, oh, this theater was just renamed from the Aquarius or something? It's now the
To
Chevy
the Chevy
Chase.
Chase Theater.
I would like to
God.
look up this theater and see if it's still called the Chevy Chase Theater.
It
or
is
if they
not.
If they immediately turned it back to the Aquarius.
I'm pretty sure they immediately turned it back.
My God. My God.
But after the opening
Fucking
credits,
God.
You may refer to the Avalon, originally known as the Chevy Chase Theater.
originally.
Or the Earl Carroll Theater, briefly known as the Chevy Chase Theater in 1983. Yeah. No, that's in D.C., so it's the Earl Carroll.
There was a moment.
They weren't filming this in D.C.
No, it's in L.A., though. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
yeah.
The Earl Carroll Theater got turned into the Aquarius Theater from the 70s, and then it was called... and then it briefly got called the Chevy Chase.
Brutal.
God.
Brutal for Chevy.
Oh my God. They did. Oh my God. There
Wait,
was a
what's
moment-
it called now?
So it was also Nickelodeon on Sunset
Nope.
from 1997 to 2017.
Dude, they blew Chevy out. They got that theater for so long, and Chevy got it for 3 weeks. Nickelodeon got it for what, 12 years or something?
10
Was it?
years.
10
10 years. The Aquarius in the 1960s and the 70s. And basically, and then it's now been leased by a pair of theater operators. We're going to restore and open the theater as part of a new entertainment complex.
Oh, man.
Okay.
We turned into a Chevy Chase experience.
Yeah, the Chevy Chase. It's only Chevy Chase movies.
There was this weird moment halfway through the first episode where it was like, wait, hold up. Is this getting fun? Am I enjoying this? But no, it's just Whoopsie Goldberg came in and just started crushing it.
Yeah. There's a weird gold theme running throughout this episode. with the
Oh,
guests.
shit.
Goldie Hawn,
Oh,
Whoopi
fuck.
Goldberg,
Yeah.
Chevy Chase's gold.
Oh, he's got gold talent.
Oh, yeah, solid gold.
Chevy likes his ladies to shine.
Yeah. But like when the episode starts, the crowd is so excited. They're like, we're here for the first episode of the new Tonight Show. We're here. He's going to be the new Carson, dude.
Oh, God.
He comes out, and they're so excited.
One
And
of
then
his
he
monologues had one joke.
Yeah, that was the second episode we watched. I don't know if the first monologue has one joke.
Does that any?
I have blacked out a lot of that.
No,
first
you
part.
know
He
what
was
that
just
first-
bragging. He was just bragging.
Yeah,
It was
that
all
first monologue,
Congratulations.
he was like, "Oh, I'm real excited to be here, doing great. You guys ready for this?" He didn't really do any jokes. He
He
just-
received flowers for a full 15 minutes at the
Yeah.
top of his first episode.
and then he went out, didn't make any jokes, and the crowd was like, "Oh, this is bad." Like I've never seen a crowd turn so quick before.
There was a moment in the first episode where he goes, "This sucks. Everyone want to start dancing?"
Yeah, like Ellen. He was the original Ellen. He was the original Ellen, dude.
It is so like it's a thing that if you've been a celebrity for a certain amount of time, when you're just interacting one-on-one with people a lot, or like for like certain stage shows where it's already planned out, you forget that that's still you have to kill. Like celebrities will like you get about 10 minutes of goodwill.
Yes.
And then after that, they're like, we're just watching a guy kind of suck.
We're just watching a guy.
Do you know what's
We do.
Do you know what's interesting about that point you bring up though? I bet a lot of people would like meet Chevy Chase on the street and be excited.
Yeah.
100%.
And then they would tell people like, "Oh, I just met Chevy Chase," and people would be like, "Oh, what's he like?" He was like, "You know what? Not a nice guy."
Yeah.
And then they picked him to be the late night host.
Yeah, no, it
God.
is just so I think it's this weird point like between like 1989 and like 1993, 94 where like Twin Peaks comes out and like Married with Children, all these other like it becomes like TV becomes this thing of like it's a rebellion against the 80s kind of polish.
Oh yeah.
And you get all this kind of grungier, like we get say whatever we want. Fuck
Screw you, Mom. I'm drinking Capri Sun for dinner.
And so it's like Chevy Chase is back. He doesn't give a shit what people in power think.
But he really doesn't care because like he doesn't want to be on the show pretty clearly. There's an attitude of him where he still like thinks he's still a movie star.
Yes.
And he is above it.
Well, that's his shtick overall.
No, but it's not him doing a shtick on this.
Yeah, I don't know if he's smart
This is-
enough to have a shtick.
This is a man upset where his career is.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it bleeds through. Like it doesn't feel like he's doing it as a joke. I said it while we were watching it. The writing and the delivery of it feels like a video that plays before a ride at Six Flags.
Yes.
Because like the writing quality is lazy and phoning, and it's like people are going, you know what? No one really cares what happens here. They're waiting for the thing that comes on after. And Chevy is kind of being like, I didn't even want to do this, but they gave me some money, so I'll give them minimal effort.
It feels lazy and phoned in, not only because it is, but because Chevy seems like the kind of guy who, well, I said it before, he seems like he thinks he knows everything there is to know, or that everything that matters. And so he doesn't have to, his opinion is the final word on everything. So he doesn't have to elaborate more than he should. So he feels like he gets to go like, Hillary Clinton, am I right?
Yeah.
We all know my opinion about that, so that's hilarious on its own.
Yeah, no, it's that. Oh, I said a loaded thing. It's wild that it was still so loaded in 1993.
That is wild. A lot of the reactions to stuff like that hadn't changed at all.
But yeah, that segment you just brought up, though, where he talks about Hillary Clinton. So they do the monologue,
Yeah.
and then they do a weird sketch where he tries to put his hands in cement, and the cement is too watery, and he falls in. Cool stuff.
See, the way you're describing it, it sounds funny.
It's not. Oh, no, there's also a part where he shot a water balloon at the theater to Christian. It is strange. But then he comes back, and this is where the episode kind of feels like it actually starts, where he does essentially Weekend Update from SNL.
Oh, yeah.
He calls it News Update.
That's why I think they don't do the monologue, because then it would be weird to do because a monologue is just Weekend Update on in front.
That's fine. They do the monologue, but barely. So just cut it
They
out
really
altogether.
do it barely.
No, absolutely, I
Open
agree.
have him go right to the desk and do Weekend Update.
1,000%.
Yes.
Or just have them do it from the desk, but I guess nobody did it from the desk at that time.
But you were just saying how they wanted to, break trends.
Yeah, and also that's such an easy one. It's so funny. Like it's
He
like
breaks trench in such a safe way. Sorry to interrupt.
well, yeah, but it's like it's still like a thing. Like Seth Meyers, it's like not used to seeing my legs because I don't leave the desk to do the monologue.
Chevy should have been hosting in shorts.
Little boy pants.
Like never gets out from behind the desk.
And then just at the end of the episode, he gets up in shorts
and
every
that's
time.
a good gag.
Yeah, I love
that
it.
is funny.
And then he doesn't have to shoot a basketball.
It
He has
is.
a piano. He has a little piano at the desk. He
There's
gets
a
to do his
piano-
that bit.
He doesn't have that in the first episode. At some point, they added a piano because
He was like, I'm bored back here.
like episode 4, he was like, I hate hosting. Can you get me a piano to play? And then they have Chevy piano cam, which is zoomed right in on his face.
Oh, and it's that close undershot that
Yeah.
he's doing. He's doing weird, uncomfortable stuff, but
Yeah.
because he's kind of out of sync with it, he's not writing that line in the same way he
Mm-hmm.
used to anymore. So now it's just uncomfortable. It's
Yes.
it's the way comedy ages. It is slower. Like you don't. Like the way I can describe it. If you're doing a bit that's like considered edgy, it's like you're trying to like dodge lasers in like a 90s spy movie. You're just like doing a bunch of acrobatics to get around all these things. So everybody's like, whoa, is he going to get singed by the lasers? And if you do a good job, it's great. But then as the bit as time's going like progress
The
age
lasers
is.
move, but you are
They
frozen.
they move faster, and suddenly you're just getting singed on them, and you can feel it. It's like, I see what you were trying to do, but now you're not hitting the right. Anyway, so we're just watching Chevy Chase just get immediately just obliterated by lasers.
You know, it feels like a bit in a Chevy Chase movie where he's accidentally like incapacitated a real late night talk show host, and he has to pretend to be like, "Oh, I'm the fill-in.
That sounds hilarious.
I'm here to host this late night show," and he's floundering up there.
Oh my God, I would love if this was that.
Yes.
If this was the show where he just pretended like he
God.
wasn't supposed to be a late night host,
Yeah,
all of his mistakes now are charming.
yeah.
It's very
This,
but
if you know what this show is
also,
entire-
you know what the difference is? It looks like he's trying.
yeah.
That's the only difference, is it looks like he's trying a little bit. And you can't be this bad and not look like you're trying.
This show is entirely saved if it opens with just a quick sketch. If he convinced, because Johnny Carson had just retired.
Yeah.
If he convinced Johnny Carson to like film a video at the start, he's like, "Boy, sure am glad to be starting my new talk show here at Fox," and then he just fakes having a heart attack, and then Chevy just wanders in, and is like, "You guys need a late night host or something? I'll do it on 5 minutes notice."
Dear God.
You know what I mean? Like they
No,
could have
no.
got another
See, that's
celebrity up top.
that's the problem with you talking about stuff that sucks is you're describing it in a way that's legitimately interesting.
Thank you. I'm
And
very
it's-
talented. Let me
yeah.
host a late night show, Fox.
Yes, it's not. It's people out there like this feels fun right now, but the Chevy Chase show is such a grating, slow, painful experience.
Not for me, because I actually like watching Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn uncomfortably flirt. It was, you know.
What do you
I
like
mean, that
about
was
it?
kinda
What do you
fun.
like
That
about
was
it?
kinda
What I like was it kept raising the temperature. It was white hot.
Jesus Christ.
Goldie Hawn showing up in her clothes that she didn't plan on wearing on air because someone told her you can't wear those clothes, so she just had to wear a full-on a Canadian tuxedo on air.
Yes.
And then spend the first 5 minutes of her interview apologizing for wearing all denim. And then Chevy just trying to keep like, okay, how are you? That's the extent of his interview ability.
Okay. One more point about the aging of comedy. So much of comedy is built on being surprising. You know what I mean? And as things age, it's harder to be surprising, of course, whatever. But Chevy Chase in the 90s, in the moment, is getting like celebrities to give him like really cool, interesting answers. And then he'll come back from that with, has he got like a day job or something?
Yeah.
Like, what's your deal? I don't know. Who are you? It's like, bro, are you present?
Not even a little bit.
He also-
That's,
What the fuck?
He never cuts people off when it gets boring either.
no, and that's the thing. It's as a late night host, that's part of the job, is like keeping the energy going, and he just lets everything go till it dies. And then kind of picks up and goes, "Oh, well, you're done. Okay, well then I guess I have to ask another question."
Yeah, you should be
He's stoned.
interjecting with a joke every couple seconds in their long, boring story.
That's the job of the host.
Because I mean, we'll get to the second episode in a bit, but boy, he let Sam Elliott be Sam Elliott for a long
That
time.
was amazing.
And then we get to a sketch that is Chevy Chase in whiteface.
Yeah, with a black background.
Yeah, and
But
it's
whiteface makes it sound like there's a racial component. No, he's just wearing like
geisha makeup.
powder.
all
yeah.
white
Yeah.
powder makeup, but it's three of them, three of Chevy's heads.
And they're just on a black background
Disembodied.
singing some song.
And moving around, kinda.
Yeah.
They
it's
moved.
scary. It's scary.
It was
It's not
genuinely
funny.
unsettling.
it's like it's interesting to see what David Byrne would be like if he didn't have the right talent.
Yeah.
And it's also, we saw a preview of another episode that we didn't watch, and in the thumbnail was another version of that sketch, and it's
Yeah.
like, you
You know
didn't
what?
learn?
Tom
It didn't,
Selleck.
it didn't kill because we heard the crowd. There was no reaction from the crowd this
Dear
whole sketch.
fucking God.
They were confused.
Do you think he started this show being like, dude, I'm going to show those guys at SNL what they were missing?
Yeah.
Everything they said no to, they're about to learn a fucking lesson.
They also definitely made him do Weekend Update. He didn't want to do that. The network made him do that for sure. But you know the craziest thing about that sketch is, though?
What's the crazy thing about that sketch?
So normally a late night show, you have like a day to write it.
Yeah.
But for your first episode, you have months to write it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what they were like, you know what's the perfect sketch to
Oh my
start off the
God.
show? This nonsense one where we're all in geisha makeup against a black background and our faces sing. I don't even know what that song was.
Were there lyrics?
I
I
don't.
don't remember.
It was like an a cappella, weird 70s, like waiting room theme.
Yeah, it's like what you were saying about the hand has to be a reference to something that we don't get. That has to be a reference to something we don't get. I consider myself a fairly culturally literate person, though. So that is an obscure reference.
That is
Or
the
just not a reference.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe he's just doing stuff for no reason because he's stupid.
Also, I checked the page for who were the writers on this show. A lot of people first-time writers. One guy who had a large career as a sound effects recordist and went right back to being a sound effects recordist after this. One guy who actually went on to create that 70s show. Good
That's
for
cool.
him.
See, there's nothing wrong with hiring new writers. That's
No.
awesome. But if you can only get green writers,
No,
no
no.
one with experience wants to work
He
with
also
you.
got one guy that had previously written for the Pat Sajak show. Another failed talk show.
Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're enjoying the episode, don't forget to rate and review and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and Spotify. That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. If you have already done it, if you haven't, just tell us what shows you want to see us watch in the reviews. That's great. If there's one, listen, we're very niche at this point. You could have a lot of influence. You specifically. It's crazy. Okay. Anyway, especially if you're one of my friends, you probably have more influence than you realize. Anyway. Okay. Let's keep moving on. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow me at DPIC Comedy, or Daniel Crow at Daniel F. Crow, or Dane Rothenberg at Dane.Rothenberg. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, it is LitGrandma69. And I have a comedy special, Goblin King, out on YouTube now. Check it out. Okay, back to the episode.
So originally, Fox asked country musician Dolly Parton to host
Would
the
have been
show.
so much better.
Way better.
Yeah, of
Would have
course.
been way better. Oh, that
Uh,
would have been that would have been good.
Yeah. Because she could have actually done a variety show thing that he's going for.
She's fucking likable.
What isn't likable about Chevy Chase?
I tell you what, he's less. I'm just about to do the stupidest fucking thing.
You're allowed. It's a
Cut
stupid
that.
podcast. Let's hear
He's
it.
a lot less nice to look at than Dolly. I'll tell you.
There
what.
we go.
Wow. I can't believe you're going to body shame Chevy Chase on this podcast.
He's a bald king.
Do you know what also when
We stand the Chase. It's not for his personality.
do you know what it's interesting? I brought
I
up
get Revy for Chevy.
I brought up that it feels like a video before a ride at Six Flags.
Yeah.
I've never been to Dollywood, but I bet her pre-ride videos are way more lively
Oh,
than this.
those must fucking slap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They get the crowds off their feet.
I'm willing to bet you go on a ride at Dollywood, like a roller coaster, before Dolly was like, hold on, y'all, you're in for a great time. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, this is going to be a better ride than I ever expect.
I'm just like, hold up, family. Can we watch that a second time?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I got
I'm
enough.
getting back in line to watch Dolly give me this pre-ride video again.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, also, I feel like I should mention this. They canceled a show that we may have to cover at some point.
For the Chevy Chase show?
Yeah, for the Chevy Chase show. They ended the show. They were like, sorry, we got to make room for this. And that show is called Studs.
Oh, so they replaced it with an even bigger stud.
Yeah, the biggest
The
stud of
one
all.
stud can replace many studs.
And this is Fox, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
God.
it was,
Studs. Is there a Z that is end with a Z?
It's
It's-
only Z's, but it's pronounced studs. It's all Z's.
ZZZ. ZZ. ZZZZZ.
And the Fox executive is like, Studs.
Who is this show? Zzz. You're
It's
supposed
actually-
to pronounce it studs.
It actually-
and then the executive is like, can we make it more edgy?
Well, originally it was going to be Screw, but then they were like, zzz, and then they were like,
We originally calling it Fucktown.
we call this show Fuck City.
You wanna know what's
Z's.
hilarious? Okay, this is unrelated to the Chevy Chase
Good.
show, but there was a joke in Arrested Development where Job's like, "We're gonna call this place Fuck City."
Yeah, that was the exact reference I was making.
Of course, yeah, that's what I remembered. And the joke is that how ridiculous that would be. And then years later, someone names their podcast Cumtown, and pretty much on name recognition, no, they are hilarious guys. It's a great podcast. But you tell someone, "Yo, check out Cumtown," you don't have to say a lot more than that. I'm curious already. and just.
Should we
The
change the
joke
name
is-
of this podcast to Studs?
Yes,
All right.
I'm saying you
I think
need
we
some
should change
sex
it to
appeal.
Fucktown Podcast.
Perfect.
Fucktown, USA.
Fuck pod fuck America. Okay.
Yeah.
These
Oh,
two
but
podcast
anyway-
hosts will fuck you. Yes, you, the listener.
Perfect.
Hold on. Studs had two men go on the same blind dates with 3 women. And then they had to answer questions about the dates and figure out stuff about it. And then they would win stuffed hearts. And the end of the game, the person who won was the ultimate stud.
I want to go on this. My ego just was like, I am the biggest stud.
This is the episode we will be watching if we do studs. It'll be the episode where there was a contestant in 1992, appeared in the show a mere 2 years before he was murdered. Ron Goldman.
Wait, what?
Oh, he was murdered alongside
With
one Nicole Simpson.
yeah.
Or Nicole Simpson Brown.
Yeah.
Or no.
Nicole
no.
Brown Simpson.
Nicole Brown
O.J.
Simpson, yeah.
Simpson murdered him.
Yes, allegedly. He was exonerated in criminal but not civil.
You guys just got yourself a podcast subscriber.
Thanks. I like that we had you on and you're like, I'm not listening. But wait, Studs with Ronald Goldman?
Hold up. You guys are going to get into true crime adjacent? Hold up.
Also, the show was getting pretty high ratings.
Studs?
Yeah, Studs was doing well in young markets. And they're like, I know what the kids are going to love. Old Chevron Chase.
50-year-old man being
think-
condescending to guests.
Chevron Chase.
I think Chevy has to change his name to Chevron after 50.
Yeah.
I think he should have had to, it's like, sorry.
Chevy
If
was
any of
my
us
popular
ever,
persona.
If any of us ever get big enough,
Call me Chevron.
if any of us are ever lucky enough to be big enough to interview Chevy Chase for any reason, I want us to all have a pact that we only refer to him as Chevron.
Yeah.
I'm here interviewing Chevron E. Chase. Okay. Yeah.
They're pinky swearing
We pinky
right now.
swear. We all
Pinky
pinky
swear
swear.
2 ways, and I'm sure you guys will do it later independently.
We often do.
Yeah. We'll do a blood pact.
We often
Yes.
do.
So they canceled Studs for Chevy.
Yeah, they canceled it completely. They were just like,
But Chevy kept a good amount of Studs because there was an uncomfortable date between him and Goldie Hawn.
Oh my fucking god.
it was so bad.
They fucked after that, didn't they?
No, because she was trying to leave during Whoopi's interview, and then Whoopi forced her back on stage.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then she
let's
was
talk
like
about-
going
let's
through
talk-
her bag and like
Yeah.
being like, "Look at this one," and she could have left
Yeah.
No, at that point she was already on. Let's talk about Whoopi Goldberg.
during the
though.
interview, during the commercial break.
Sure, she could. That you're right. She could have left, but she was on cocaine.
Well, she
Yep.
had to. She took her a while to leave. 'Cause she had to free her son from underneath that cake. He was encumbered by this cake.
Legends has it that he's still there to this day.
Yeah,
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg's on. She is doing the most work to be a host.
she is turning
Genuinely
it-
entertaining.
It becomes the Whoopi Goldberg show where she's interviewing Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
I've done that. I feel like I've done enough podcasting where that I go on a thing with a bad host and I'm like, don't worry, I'll keep us on the rails. Let's keep these anecdotes short. Let's
Dane,
keep
can you
going.
believe he thinks he's a good podcast host? I can't believe. Like, I know how many people listen to this podcast, so the evidence not good.
People only want to hear me talk about fucking. Oh no.
Well, then this is a good episode for them because we all saw what Chevy and Goldie were doing.
But as a good podcast host, I can tell you what people want to hear is beans. People want to talk about the weather and my dad.
Which
All
is
three things
everything
Chevy
we
brought
talk
up.
about.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, Whoopi goes in. What were her anecdotes?
Her anecdotes were she brought in a pair of shoes for Chevy that she wore on the first episode of her show, that talk show that she hosted, as good luck.
Yes.
Her
Yeah.
talk show was canceled very early, and Chevy gets the shoes and immediately smells them,
Yep.
Yes.
Smells like you did have a good time in these shoes.
which great joke, not creepy. And
He said to her, "So you're playing a new instrument? I forgot what the instrument was." And she says, "Yes." And he's like, "I would love to come over your house and just play with it sometime." And she's like, "Yeah, you can come over to my house and play with all the instruments and play with whatever." And he's like, "A Miss Lady."
But then what's weird about it
classic
is
Chevy.
he's doing all of that already. He's doing all the innuendo, and then she's like, "Yeah, you could do the innuendo," and he's like, "Oh, well, I would never."
Yeah, she's comfortable with her sexuality,
think-
and that throws him because
I
he
think
needs.
we're being unfair. Because
Okay.
Chevy Chase really, he was a groundbreaker in that he was the first autistic late night host.
That's not true.
Okay. No, because his questions are weird. At one point, he just asked Whoopi Goldberg, "Have you ever been bald?"
Yep.
That's just a question he asks out of nowhere. And Whoopi saves it. She makes it into something.
Every
Yeah.
episode is a bad dinner party at Chevy's house.
No, yeah, it felt like speed dates that weren't going well. And
By the way, the Whoopi Goldberg show went from 1992 to 1993, so she had just ended.
she did better than Chevy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got 112 episodes.
It's entirely possible.
Way better than Chevy.
Hers probably ended because, she was still a movie star.
Uh,
She was like, "Oh, okay. So I've got some downtime between Sister Act 1 and 2.
You know the crazy
Might as well
difference-
take this big paycheck."
Yeah.
I love that you want to give her that kind of credit. I just assume it got canceled for low ratings, like a lot of daytime TV shows do.
Well, she didn't. Okay, she had won an Oscar a year or two before she got that talk show. She didn't need to do that. She probably wanted to do that.
probably
Also-
wanted to.
And then was
Yeah,
like, "Man, I'm bored. I can do other stuff."
Also, has Chevy ever won an Oscar? 2.
Never.
Oh.
Who's still working to this day?
Whoopie.
Whoopi.
Both.
What does Chevy do?
not as much.
What does Chevy do?
Very cheap movies.
What does Whoopi do?
She's on The View.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Who's really working?
Us. We're
There we go.
We're trying to find
Yeah.
we're trying to find an hour of things to talk about the Chevy Chase show. Which also, I'm just now realizing, couldn't they have come up with another name? Like, that's the laziest name you can get. Like,
sure.
No. If you're Fox and you're trying to launch your own late night talk show,
You call it Chase.
Oh, that'd have been better.
no, you might want to call it something, because the Tonight Show can
Even
run
just
forever.
Chevy.
You can replace the host. Now it's the Tonight Show with the new host. You can do the Late Show. You've replaced the host. You're Fox.
Fucktown City with Chevy Chase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Trap a boy with cake, kiss the mom with Chevy boy.
Welcome to Cake Trappers with Chevy Chase.
It's a better show.
I would love to watch that show.
Cake Trappers.
Just him putting cakes on people's lap and be like, "Can you just watch my cake?" And then cool things happen around them.
Nope.
And
Every
they
episode
can't
he's just
get up.
kissing their
Can't
moms.
get up.
Just kissing mom.
No, every episode ends with them finding Chevy Chase having sex with their mom. Because they don't have the willpower of Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
Oh, Chevy.
But yeah, Whoopi dominates the interview. She
Oh,
makes it,
easily.
She makes it watchable briefly,
Yeah, the audience is having fun.
and then it gets very uncomfortable
From downtown, 3-pointer.
because Whoopi, after the commercial break, she's like, "Can you get Goldie back out here? I got to talk
Right
to
before the
Goldie."
commercial break.
Yeah,
Is it
that
right
was
before?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, so then she's like, "Can you get Whoopi, or can you get Goldie out here?" And she's like, "Goldie, people keep coming up to me in public and being like, 'Are you Goldie Hawn?'"
Hold on, but Goldie Hawn is leaving. She was leaving.
Yeah, she was leaving.
Yeah.
She had her bag. They had to throw a microphone on her.
She
last
had just
second.
freshly powdered her nose.
Yep.
And she comes outside and she is barely saying words.
Yeah.
So
Every time someone says something to her, she goes.
So here's what I will say. There is a thing when you do stand up, I'll have like 2 drinks before the set, and then afterwards you're like, oh, I'm done. I'll do a shot or something. So we're seeing the cocaine of I'm done working. And that is what we're watching because she is fully on the rails, off the rails.
So now here's what Whoopi says, and Whoopi's getting big laughs
Yeah.
because she's like pointing to her and Goldie and being like, "How would you ever confuse us?" Blah blah blah. And I'm going to say exactly what Whoopi says, and I'm not even going to feel comfortable, even though I'm quoting Whoopi. And Whoopi goes, look at me. I'm a negress. She's a white girl." And she says that, and it gets a big laugh. But then Chevy, who's not quoting Whoopi at this point, who should not be doing this, he tries to say, "Come on, Goldie also has negress in her," but he kind of mumbles that. And he gives up on that joke halfway through.
But he gets enough
And
of it out.
It doesn't come out sounding like it comes out sounding like it should have been censored. It is not great.
How much funnier
this
would
is
it be?
his first
How much
episode.
funnier would it be if it went? Now Goldie has a little burp in her. That'd have been way funnier.
That would have been so much
Oh,
worse.
no.
too.
Way worse. Way worse.
'Cause
Agreed.
It would have been like, yeah.
Because then it's like, no, he did not.
I wish it was like an old timey sound effect, like the ones like just
From
like
Three's
where,
a Crowd.
yeah, where it's like wah, 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 wah.
My God.
Goldie has a little wah, wah in her.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
it was so uncomfortable. And it's like, why is that the joke, you think?
Chevy, that was the joke she was making.
Also,
That wasn't an invitation to
here's the
for you
thing.
to make the joke.
here's the thing: is even that joke is. Are people really coming up to Whoopi Goldberg asking if she's Goldie Hawn?
No, but Whoopi's a funny person making a funny joke.
I don't know. I just think it's like it's
And you know,
such
you're
a
a comedian. People come up to you and make stupid jokes all the time.
People are like, "Hey, are you Goldie Hawn?" They say that to every comedian.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
This guy last night, we were setting up a show, the show. Why say a show? Like it's mysterious. We all did a show last night, and this guy, we walked up to the mic for a second to like do a test, and this guy was like, "Oh, do a test joke," and it's like, "Ha, no,
Yeah, I'm off the clock right now, buddy.
I'm not your dancing monkey, pal."
I mean, we are, but not at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so
I do
excited.
it when I choose, not
I'm
when
so-
you say.
I'm so excited to edit this part out.
Yeah.
Edit that part out, but just leaving the part where you're like, I'm excited to edit this part out. Just 5 seconds of dead air,
Yeah.
and then this explanation.
Put in divorced from any context. I'm not your dancing monkey. Then
Yeah.
more 5 minutes of dead air. Then I'm excited to edit this
And then the
out.
podcast just fades out.
42 minutes. Let's talk about the next
We're
then
episode.
you put
42
some
minutes in or 42 minutes left?
42 minutes in.
Oh my gosh, we have a second episode to get through.
Oh my!
Okay.
There's just so much to talk about with Chevy.
Chevy Chase, second episode. He does literally one joke in his monologue.
Oh my God.
He does one joke
One
in his
joke in
monologue.
the episode.
Sort of. What was the joke even? I can't.
Okay, here's the joke Chevy Chase does. A 92-year-old woman was just
yeah.
given 30 days in prison for littering. That's the setup. And then he's like, and they let her out after 3 days. This is the revolving door that keeps our streets unsafe. That's the joke. And then they go right to.
Yeah, and he had so many more words.
Which is a
Yeah.
fine. It's a fine joke. but
it's the worst
way he
version of
told
that
it,
joke.
Yes.
The better version of that joke that subverts expectations better is a 92-year-old woman just given 30 days in prison for littering. And the crowd goes, "Oh," and they're like, "Yeah, I know, not enough time."
Yes.
easy.
It's less
Boom.
words. It gets the same point across. But he does that one. He does his one joke.
It,
and
it
then
literally is
the
like
problem-
a minute long joke of that.
And the problem with Chevy is when he says the punchline, he wants to now live in that world for 2 more minutes of just like, isn't that great? But the surprise has happened, bro. We know.
So then there's a weird edit, and he's like, "All right, we got a great show."
He's chewing gum.
Oh yeah, he's
chewing gum.
He's chewing gum during that monologue. And then
Quite obviously,
right,
it's
no,
not
he-
like we sneakily
Wait,
saw
no,
it.
that's what bothered me so much about it because the joke is whatever. The joke is fine. It's a monologue joke by Chevy Chase. He should be better at them. He did Weekend Update,
Yes.
or News Update, but
Yeah.
he takes gum and puts it in his mouth, and then starts chewing it. Does one monologue joke, doesn't mention the gum, and then just moves on. There's no payoff to it. He just kind of eats gum.
yeah,
It is funny. If he was funny this whole time, we would be like, "That's brilliant."
when we're describing it, it sounds surreally interesting in a way Tim and Eric is.
yeah.
but that's not.
No, I think that might be the thing. Is it may be we're watching a guy who is out of his own time, not hire people who are exciting, cool writers who are doing things. Like if
He's probably
Chevy
too threatened
Chase
by a good
hired, probably. Well, that's why he's hiring sound effect guys. But he hired if he had hired like a young Tim and Eric in the early '90s.
He would not have let any of their ideas through.
Yeah.
Well, sure, that's what I'm saying. But this is how I'd improve the show. I'll slide it in here, I guess.
Let's go. Do it.
But if you had let someone like Tim and Eric, or I'll just repeat this, Tim and Eric, like be on that show with him, or like do something like that, then you can start doing those like Brechtian style anti-comedy things, like the host dying. There's a funny version of the show where Chevy Chase gets bit by a snake in the first 5 minutes of the
Yeah.
episode, and the rest of the episode is guest hosted by his twin, who is inept
Yeah.
and doesn't know what's supposed to be happening on the show.
But this
that's a
goes
fun
back-
premise that keeps that kind of weird energy of I don't really know what I'm doing going, and it's fine because he's not supposed to be a smarmy big host. Anyway, I'm talking too much.
Let's go back to my issue with Chevy. I don't think that would work because I don't think he trusts another person enough to have a better idea than his own.
Yeah, I feel,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel
Chevy,
like every joke on there was his. He never
Yes.
let any writers go through.
I believe he is genuinely uncurious about the world around him.
Yeah.
I think he knows all that he thinks there is to know, and what's the point of being surprised?
Why would I be
I
curious
know
around
what's
the world?
surprising. I'm clumsy.
Why would I be curious about the world around me? I know Chuck Mingus.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so we watched 3 other interviews. We could do them pretty quickly because they're all kind of nothing in different
We
ways.
watched out of context his interview with Henry Rollins, where Henry
Amazing.
Rollins clearly hates Chevy Chase.
Yeah, because Chevy Chase is talking down to him. He's like, "What do you even tell people you do?" And it's like, "Oh, well, I run a printing company. I have a band that tours internationally." Who is
A
it? Rick
fucking rock
Rubin?
star.
He
Dude,
hangs
what?
out with. He's doing a project with Rick Rubin. He's
Yeah.
filming a movie.
Yeah, it was
He's a
just
fucking
My
rock star.
career's
Get
going
off his
better
ass.
than yours, Chevy.
Yeah.
he just really went off on Chevy because it's 1993, so he's like, "Who's this little punk rock guy?"
I think the movie he's literally. I think he's like, yeah, I'm filming a movie. I think he's referring to Heat. I think that's what he's referring to at the time.
He also Chevy Chase is like talks about jazz, but then just immediately brings up Frank Sinatra.
And then Henry Rollins is like, yeah, I know more about jazz than you, and just goes off about jazz.
Well, and then Chevy, who is a musician. That is a real
Yeah.
thing. Chevy is like a good musician. What was it?
Subjectively.
What's the band again? What's the weird?
Steely Dan.
Yeah, Chevy Chase was almost in Steely Dan. He
Yeah.
declined to be in Steely Dan.
But then, like all the jazz people, Henry Rollins lists, he's like, you know what? I know all those guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're friends.
Oh yeah. He's that kid on
Go
the
way
playground.
back.
He's on the kid on the playground who has all the superpowers plus the force field. Also, just nah.
Yeah.
Nah, you didn't shoot me. No.
Chevy Chase's dad works at Nintendo, so he knows all the new Pokemon that are coming out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My mom is actually Game Shark, so I have all the codes.
But that's Henry Rollins' interview.
Sorry, there was an ambulance in the distance.
And then, so that was not the episode that we watched, but on the episode we watched, it was Pam Anderson.
Which she handles well.
She handles well because it's mostly him just opening copies of Playboy in front of her.
Well, no,
Giving copies of Playboy to his band to look at.
yeah, and they're doing the full, like, we're looking at you naked right now.
Yep.
It is very She handles
Yeah.
it incredibly well.
She brings up, so I'm doing karate right now. No big deal.
And then he keeps trying to get her to do karate.
Yeah, what
And
the
she doesn't-
fuck?
She doesn't want to do karate.
Because she's only had 6 lessons or whatever.
5 lessons.
Oh, my
Which he
God.
calls her out on.
I also, and then he's, like, trying to look, and she's like, no, don't look. That's my second shoot or whatever. He's, like, like, imagine, like, he's just got her, like, naked pictures right there on the desk being like, this is cool, right?
When we were watching that, there's one way this is a good joke. And that's if when Sam Elliott comes out, he brings out a bunch of fake Sam Elliott Playboys and just starts looking at him in front of Sam Elliott.
Incredible
Or like,
payoff.
so
Yeah.
Sam Elliott, this is your frickin' Kashi cereal.
Yeah.
This is your friend. What is that cereal? Kashi?
But
I don't know.
Friends.
So
But
anyway,
it's still Sam Elliott nude with a Kashi box over his dick.
when Sam Elliott does come out, though,
Oh, wait. We have to include one thing because
Oh.
there is a timer that we've forgotten
Oh,
about.
yeah.
It's a very
who could
important
forget?
timer.
I forgot at the start of the episode,
Never forget.
he gets like a bucket from a restaurant where people put in their business cards for a free meal, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna call one of these cards, and if they come to the studio, they can have this meal that we have prepared for them." And he calls a few numbers before anyone picks up. They do not edit any of it out.
No, and it's not funny. He's
It's
not making
funny.
fun-
He's not doing any jokes.
He does his Chevy thing where he's incompetent.
Yeah. And so then we just talked to some guys like, "Can you come down here?" And the guy's like,
Yeah.
All
Or I'm an
right.
acupuncturist.
"I'm an acupuncturist and I have a patient." And Chevy's like, "Bring him."
Dude, my
So then
fan. Oh, sorry.
We have a timer at the bottom of the screen the whole time. It's like countdown to meal.
They have 40 minutes. What is it?
It's just some fancy restaurant is catering it.
Yeah.
Wait,
But-
to be fair to Chevy Chase, it is so funny watching an almost
Spago.
60-year-old man
Yeah.
pretend to not know how to work a phone. Dude, like he's never seen it before. Like he's a little dumb
Do I
baby.
gotta dial the area code? What do I gotta-
Being
yeah.
sarcastic.
Yeah. But then Sam Elliott comes out. And Sam Elliott is he's promoting the film Gettysburg. And Chevy just lets him talk. And Sam just gets into the film production
So,
in the most
hold it.
boring way possible.
Let me just say it's so much worse. What happens is it's because Sam Elliott literally goes first question. They go out there, they say hi. He goes, "Oh, I'm a big fan of your work. You provided me a lot of laughs in my life and everything." And then the first question out of Chevy Chase's mouth is just about Gettysburg. He goes, "Oh, publicity." And then just starts monologuing about Gettysburg. Sam Elliott turns off, and the monologue begins. I swear, he goes, "Oh, publicity." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not having fun on Chevy Chase's show. We're doing a standard interview. Got it. That's what's happening."
And then first he's like, "Well, it was a bit hard on Gettysburg, because we were actually the first production that they let film on the actual battlefield at Gettysburg.
It's pretty
hot
hot
out there, and they were using pretty authentic, period appropriate cloth for our costumes. And, it was pretty hot for us. Imagine what it was like for the soldiers. And he just keeps going on
About like the production details.
Just
Yeah.
every single we had a writer on staff we paid $3,000 for. That was a nice day, and
he
they
did
were
3 drafts. It got better every time.
I like craft services. They have some tasty food there.
At one point, he discusses how the film was in production limbo for 13 years.
Interesting.
He's not. No, he's like,
No,
well,
I know,
they had
yeah.
written the script, and there wasn't really a market for it until Ken Burns' Civil War came out, and then Ted Turner came through. Ted Turner's looking to get into movie production,
Dear
so
God.
Ted Turner put up the money for Gettysburg.
and Chevy Chase is stopping none of it.
Chevy Chase is like,
He's just letting him.
Once again, what we're describing sounds entertaining if Eric Andre was on the other side of this.
Yeah.
But it's so incompetently done by Chevy Chase. That is the issue. It has nothing
I wish
truly
I
to
could-
do with Chevy necessarily, or it has nothing to do with the ideas. It's so poorly done. If Eric Andre just had Sam Elliott come on and talk about the Civil War for 20 minutes, well, he just let him do it, and you just waited for the payoff, and then at the end, he shot Sam Elliott. It was like, that's the whole thing.
the thing is, Eric Andre is likable and talented.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. And Chevy Chase is talented. You were still laughing at him falling down. He has a talent. It's silly.
Fine.
He is talented,
Fine.
but he is not able to let anyone else work with him in any way,
Yes.
which makes his work so singularly bad most of the time.
It's just the same
Especially
thing.
when he has the power to isolate himself at that level.
You want to know what it was? I watched Community when I was in high school. I love that show to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's on it, of course. And there's a scene in one of the first episodes where it's like a end credits gag where he's trying to put mustard or whatever.
No, it's right
on
at the
a
beginning of
hot
the
dog.
pilot. It's in the beginning of the pilot. It's introduction as a character, or it's
No.
it's in the cafeteria and he's trying to put the mustard on the hot dog, and then the one doesn't have it, and then the other one squirts out too much, and he stuffs it in the bread.
That is also happens, but there is a whole end credits gag in the first season, I'm pretty sure,
Oh.
where he just tears apart a whole. And it might not be hot dogs, but it's like a food thing.
Oh,
He's trying to put a food thing together, and he just
Yeah.
cannot. Maybe Sundays.
I like the
whatever.
ice cream one.
That might be the ice cream one. But anyway, fucking.
The third season. Anyway,
I've already seen that, and that was kind of funny to me when I was in high school. But there's no more than that. It's always that thing again and again, with no change.
Yeah. But the one you were watching was the version of it's been that the whole time.
It's always been that. And
Yeah,
I was
this-
introduced to that in high school, and that was cool when I first saw it. But I've seen it.
yeah.
By the way, speaking of Chevy's physical comedy, we did forget one thing that happens in the second episode.
Oh, we are beating around that bush.
Yeah, well,
We
there's
are battering around that
There's
bush.
a sketch that there's like a
fuck.
Chevy's
I
playing.
forgot about it. I
Chevy's
blocked-
playing a woman.
We literally
Does
just
woman
watched
voice.
this episode, and I had already forgotten
Yeah.
about this.
Chevy's playing a woman with a black eye, who's like also in a cast.
Oh yeah,
And she's sitting on a couch.
all
and,
sort of. Oh yeah.
and then she's just sort of monologuing like, "Oh man, I didn't expect to get hurt like this." And then something pops up on screen. It's like, "You're not alone." And then they do 3 or 4 variations. Of
And
that.
it's like a minute and a half, and it's very very
it goes
serious,
on
intense,
for a while.
Very
and you're
tense.
like, "This is not cool, Chevy." You think he's just making a sketch about battered women, and then the punchline
Chevy's
is
playing the battered woman.
Chevy is playing the battered
and
woman.
the narrator.
And the narrator. And then at the end is like, "Call this number if you're part of the clumsy community."
The extremely clumsy community.
That's the punchline.
She did it to herself.
And then it's about 3 minutes of him just falling over trying to call. It goes on way too
long.
And again, like when we're describing it, you could see like this sounds like perhaps an alt comedy masterpiece. I assure you, it's the most boring version
Yes.
of everything we're talking about.
Because the joke, what's so frustrating about it is that is actually a funny joke. You know, the twist is that, oh, she's just very clumsy. It's terrible taste. It's horrible. It puts a terrible image in your head. And it's
I mean,
drawing
it
from
is-
references that are ghoulish.
I will say it is in the oeuvre of 1993 Fox
Yeah.
to do a joke about abusing women.
Yes.
For sure.
It's like, you know who needs to get taken down a peg? You know who's got it too easy in this world?
Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But to them, it's battered women.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously.
It's
God.
doubly uncomfortable considering how he treated all of the women he interviewed.
Yes.
Oh, my God. And anyway, let's just. I don't.
You've
This
had
is-
enough, Chevy.
This is a weird because it's a weird bummer thing to talk about at the end of this being like, yeah, and then he just did this in the middle that my brain immediately blocked out.
Well,
I'm mad.
that
I'm
That is how he
re-remembering
ended
it.
our experience
Well,
with
no.
him.
Hey, if you'd like to end this on a more positive note before we go into what we would change and shows we recommend, I can do my impression of Sam Elliott if you'd let the interview keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is Sam Elliott if the interview had as much time as he needed. So the thing you got to understand is with Screen Actors Guild regulations, every extra, a certain number of them have to have a SAG card. But basically, so if you don't have enough extras with SAG cards, then you got to give some of the extras that aren't SAG members like a membership for the day. And if they do 3 days of extra SAG membership on days where there aren't enough SAG extras, they can become full-on SAG members. And we're actually filming in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
So you were filming on location.
We're filming on location in
Great, good.
Gettysburg.
I'm sorry, I'm
That's
not finished talking.
And there aren't a lot of SAG members in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, so we're pretty much exclusively working with non-SAG extras. So we have to give pretty much all of them the cards. So that means every day we're paying a fee to give these people single-day SAG memberships until eventually, they're all SAG members
I
after
want this
3
to
days
just
of
keep
filming.
going, and the podcast is just going to fade out.
Is
with
it
you
possible
doing-
to
would-
just loop that?
I want you to know that what I was just doing was not an exaggeration at all
No,
of how
not at
Chevy
all.
let Sam do the interview.
Free on YouTube. You can watch for yourself.
Anyway, what would you do to improve the show? You said earlier. you
I
would
would no, just let in a new artist.
I mean, he
like,
did hire new writers. I think he may have tried that, but
No,
I
he
don't think
hired-
listened
Hire
to them.
established writers.
no, but I mean, like let in new let in like talented people. He
Knew
just
from what they had.
it looks like he just hired a bunch of people who liked him and would let him do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like get another personality like Tim and Eric. It's like, well, it's the problem with Community where like Donald Glover was the funniest person in the cast, and it drove Chevy insane because he was supposed to be the funny guy coming back for his back, and now he's playing the villain idiot.
He's
Which
playing himself.
which can be funny, but he couldn't have the self-awareness around it to have a redemption arc. Instead, he died.
Oh, he would have been a beloved villain if he just embraced it.
Yeah.
Been an amazing heel.
Okay.
Dane, how would you improve the Chevy Chase show?
Well, first, I would say we're firing Chevy, but like not just firing him. I want him destitute. I want him not dead, but almost.
So we're suing him?
suffering. No, I want him in the jungle somewhere with no way to get help. I want him to be scared and alone. I want him to feel powerless.
So you want Naked and Chev Frayed?
Yep. I think that would improve the show. If Chevy Chase were powerless and or you know what? You know how we improve the show? Let's just make it Kimmel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's way funnier.
So like
All
a high
right.
school age Jimmy Kimmel is hosting this
Yep.
show. All right.
Actually,
Yep.
yeah, I'm already fine with that.
Here's my crazy pitch to make it better.
Okay.
You announce the show,
Great.
and like you say that the host, you call it like whatever show,
Yeah.
and then you announce the host is some like Ryan Seacrest type, just some real boring guy.
All
But
right.
you notice that Chevy Chase is his sidekick, is his Andy Richter. But really, like you've told Chevy, it's actually your show. But every show, Chevy is just presented as the sidekick that hates the real host.
That's really good.
And because that's the perfect role for him. And
Yeah.
he's trying to sabotage the actual host throughout every show.
He's a great Daffy Duck.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
he's just being
Yeah.
He needs to be an antagonist. He's
like
an
he's
antagonist.
like he's the movie star and he can't believe he's fallen to the sidekick role and he's just sowing chaos throughout.
That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
If he had the emotional intelligence enough to be that villain, he would
Okay.
be. I would love him.
Honestly, a Conan
Be a piece of
O'Brien
shit. Fuck
with
yeah.
Chevy Chase as his chair,
Yeah.
just grumpily being there in the corner, just like, Chevy, you want to participate in this one? Nah, I don't feel like it.
'Cause you get to do all-
Chevy's going to take one out, run this one.
Because he gets you all kinds of promotion beforehand where Chevy's like, I'm not happy that I'm in this role. And then people are going to tune in and be like, okay, what's going on here?
You know I can play jazz, right?
He just, in the middle of interviews, starts playing the piano, just trying to. It's hilarious.
I would love
From
the
the-
Eric
from
Andre
the
and
side
Chevy.
seat?
Honestly, Chevy Chase as a sidekick is a great idea.
You want to be
Yeah.
hilarious? Him in the Andy Richter chair trying to mac on Goldie Hawn.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Then it is weirdly actually funny. Because the sidekick shouldn't do that. It's obvious they shouldn't do that. The host has power.
That would be so.
The
fucked. That would
sidekick
fix
isn't in
it.
power, which
Yeah.
makes it funny. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if it's like some boring Ryan Seacrest that was like, Chevy, you gotta stop.
You want to know what it is? Yeah, because it's benign deviance.
Yeah.
You need it to be safe but not boring. And
Yep.
what he is a dangerous, powerful man. And so it's just scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, take the power away from him. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe we'll give him a blanket in the jungle.
Okay.
Wow, we're still murdering Chevy though. Okay, let's recommend shows. All right, Dane, what's a show you want to recommend?
My recommendation, it's been on my brain all morning. Nirvana, the band, the show. It's
Great
difficult to
show.
get. I love it, dude.
I recommended it a couple episodes ago.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything? I guess.
It's so
Like, I
hard to
thought-
describe. It's so much to talk about with that show.
Also, where could they find it? Because that's a weird one to find.
It's a hard one to find.
It's on the
second
Internet
season.
Archive.
Okay, fantastic.
You can
Internet
just go to the
Archive.
Internet Archive and search
If you
for it.
have $14 and you want to get it through Amazon Prime,
Don't support Amazon Prime.
don't support Amazon Prime. Get it through the Internet Archives. You know what? Edit that out. Edit that out.
Yeah, they don't want you. They want you to find it through the Internet Archives.
Internet Archives.
We've been bringing it up. Guys, watch the Eric Andre show.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the Eric Andre show. It's the show you want this to be.
Yeah.
Or that Chevy apparently wanted this to be.
Yeah.
I'll do another weird talk show then. I'll do Z-Way.
Never heard of it.
You never
I'm
heard?
gonna do things Z-way. It's Z-way or the highway.
She was a YouTube Showtime, or she was a YouTube person who then got a Showtime show.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's weird. It's
Wait,
uncomfortable.
it's actually good?
Well, it's uncomfortable on purpose. It's funny. It's definitely
Okay.
it's a weird show. It's definitely worth checking out.
Chevy as Z-way's sidekick.
Great, but he's in a cage.
Very, very nice. Nice entrance, nice boots, nice looking guy.
This is a hell of a way for her to meet you.
Yeah,
I must
yeah.
say, you know, thanks for the laughs. For a lot of years of good laughs, you know.
Hey,
Big fan of
thank you
yours,
very much.
know.
Very nice of you. Thanks.
So,
Good night. You are known for your, rugged cowboy western roles. Did you have any idols as a kid for these pictures? Any particular ones like?
it's sounding all like publicity
Huh?
stuff. Nothing. Yeah, of
I'm
course
just
I
curious.
did. You know, I mean, I grew up as a child seeing a lot of westerns. You know, Gary Cooper and Jimmy Stewart and all those guys. You know,
Yeah. You're
which
laconic.
most of this audience is probably too young to know most of those guys.
Yeah, the new film Gettysburg.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a movie, and it's an epic movie.
It's a pretty incredible undertaking that Turner got involved in here, Chevy. You know, it's based on a Pulitzer Prize-winning novel by a guy named Walt
Disney.
Shearer. Boy,
Walt Shearer.
No, Walt Schirra's the other guy.
Walter Schirra, the
Shearer.
astronaut.
Shearer, yeah, Schirra's the astronaut.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Michael Shearer, thank you.
Yeah, Michael Shearer. Yeah.
And this thing was like laying around for 13 or 14 years, you know, and